Pandu Nayak, thank you for inviting us here, and we are glad to talk to you. You are the chief scientist for Google Search. Here we are at Google at Mountain View. How can you explain what is chief scientist for search exactly?
Well, first, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So you know, there's a lot going on in technology today. There's just a lot of excitement. And I see my role as finding ways to bring that technology to build the best search that we can. And it's a pretty remarkable time, really, and there's just tremendous amounts of opportunity. And that's what I'm doing. I'm helping all our teams figure out how to bring this amazing technology, artificial intelligence, and everything around it to build a great search experience.
You've been at Google for many years now. Previously, you worked notably at NASA. How can you come from NASA to Google Search?
Yeah, I mean, it is true. I was at NASA for the longest time in the 90s. And then I've been in search for a little over 20 years now. And at some level, they seem very different. And yet, there are very strong parallels between the two. And I see two things as really sort of standing out for me personally. One is both are very mission-driven organizations, and they both have missions that are personally inspiring to me. NASA, of course, is all about space exploration, and I grew up a big science fiction fan, and so to have the chance to work on space missions and further this mission of space exploration was very, very exciting to me. And at Google, of course, we have the mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And I find that mission also personally very inspiring. The idea that the work that I do can have such wide impact across the globe is very exciting. So the mission is one part of it. But the other part is both NASA and Google actually are trying to solve incredibly challenging problems. NASA, you know, the space environment is very hostile, and building spacecraft that have to work there is really challenging. Google, of course, is trying to serve information needs across the globe. We get trillions of queries a year across a wide variety of things. And to solve both sets of problems, we need to harness technology. Right.
Search,
that's sort of a commonality we have here.
Search was initially an idea to, as you say, improve the way we were searching on internet. What were the principles of search? The first principle of search? Can you remind us that?
Yeah, I think the remarkable thing about Google search is it's really founded on two core principles. One is of course relevance or helpfulness. You come and search, you want results to actually be about what you want. But the other thing is just as important, which is high quality, reliable information. Right? And this is something that Google Search has prioritized since the beginning. If you remember when Google first came out, there were lots of search engines, all of which tried to get you relevant results and everything. But Google was the first one really that emphasized this notion of reliable information. And they introduced this notion of PageRank as a measure of reliability. So that core, this idea that we need to surface reliable information for our users, is something that we have emphasized through the years of Google, and certainly in the 20 years that I've been there. And I think it is a key reason why Google has garnered so much trust from people. They know they can turn to Google for reliable information.
What is a good result, according to you, when you're searching?
To me, a good result or a great result is one that actually helps you. It's got to be helpful. If it's not helpful to you, then it's not a good result. But it's got to be helpful, and preferably from a reliable source.
but my result won't be the same as yours if we're searching for quite the same things. So how can you personalize that?
I think personalization is certainly an aspect of it. And it's true that different people find different results helpful. So I think even before we get to personalization, I think a key part is we surface many, many results, and users get to pick the one that they like, right? We certainly sort them, we order them in a way that as we think is the most helpful one is at the top, but chances are you will find what you want sort of up there. Now with personalization, you can take it to the next level, but this is the core of it, that we surface many helpful results for you.
Throughout your years at Google, how do you assess the evolution of search?
So the evolution of search is primarily driven by a few factors. One of them is just the development of technology. And throughout the years of Google, every time there's been some development in technology, we have found a way to bring it to search to make it sort of easier. So in the early days, search was just about searching web results, right? And we use the technology of information retrieval in that. But then the internet started having lots of images and videos, and people wanted them. And then, so we developed the whole technology of searching for images and videos, and then universal search, so that the same search could surface many different types of information. We had the knowledge graph, which was this technology that created a model of the world, entities and the relationships between them. And this brought about new experiences that we could build for users. Then there was the transition to mobile. That was a huge technological change. And that really opened up new types of questions that you could ask. Now suddenly you were on the go. You would ask questions like restaurants near me, things that you never asked before. And then, of course, over the 21st century, if you will, there's this huge rise in the technology of deep learning and AI. And we have consistently brought those kinds of things with improvements to the underlying quality of results using deep learning and everything that's happened there, to things like Lens and Circle to Search, which opened up whole new ways of searching visually. And then, of course, the current generation of generative AI and everything that it's doing there with what we call AI-powered discovery, things like AI overviews and so forth.
How do you see the way that people have changed their way to search? Did you anticipate some of the change, or did you have a look at what they are doing and find a solution? Who inspired the other?
I mean, it's clearly a sort of a both kind of thing. I think the thing to remember is users have lots and lots of questions. Okay, a remarkable fact which never ceases to amaze me is that 15% of the searches we get every day, of the billions of queries that we get every day, 15% are ones we've never seen before. Okay, that's a pretty remarkable fact. And I think what it does is it speaks to the sort of the unlimited curiosity of people, and it forces us to continually innovate to serve more and more of these user needs that people have. And so what we've found is that every time we make it easier to search for a new kind of thing, people learn about that and search more. To me, a great example of this is Lens. Lens really allowed you to search visually. Your camera became your search box effectively. Today, we get something like 25 billion searches a month. right? There's a dramatic increase in those searches. And that's just a great example of how when you make it easy to search, people search a lot more. And in that context, AI, the current generation of AI is really taking this to the next level, because it's allowing us to handle much more complicated questions, and users are finding it very natural to ask very complex questions.
Every year you are doing the best of search. I don't know how I can call that, but it shows the way that people are searching, what they are looking for. How can you explain the way we have changed our searching method? Like, it was first just keywords, and now it's more complicated sentences.
It is absolutely, because of all these technological transitions, and because we're able to do more and more, users are now asking more and more complex questions, right? You're right, in the beginning it was much more keywordies. When we introduced the knowledge graph, people started asking sort of factual questions, how tall is the Eiffel Tower, for example, right? And then they'd get a direct answer. And then today, with things like AI overviews and things, and because there's sort of AI-powered discovery here, people are asking many more complex questions, which really reflects the complexity of people's lives. People's lives don't fit into a small set of keywords, and now you can ask those questions sort of naturally to reflect what's going on.
What have been the three most innovations in Google search, according to you?
The three most innovative. It's hard to pinpoint, but I'll give you a handful that I think are really up there. One is, there was this huge transition with deep learning, which has led to all these large language models and everything with transformers and BERT. There was all this technology that was developed by the Google research team. And we were able to bring all of this to search in the ranking algorithm, because it allowed us to understand language in a much deeper way. Right, so language understanding is one of the things that has really sort of been a sort of a key innovation that has led to a lot of improvement in search. So that I would say that's one. The second, I think, what we're seeing sort of with visual search and multimodality in general is sort of a second big thing. And if I was to pick a third one, I would focus broadly on this notion of the quality of information, because I think this has really been one of Google's superpowers, is the focus on the quality of information out there, so we can always surface high quality, reliable information for you. And while there hasn't been a singular thing in there, it's an accretion of many years of work to really try and surface this high quality information.
You've got a lot of millions and millions and billions of pages to scroll. Was there once a new tool you wanted to add to search that you were surprised people didn't adopt or are using less than others?
Well, I mean, I can't think of anything big, but it's certainly true that at various times we have launched things and then unlaunched them as their use went lower. I mean, like, this isn't maybe the best example, but it's a personal example. My first project at Google 20 years ago was a system that sort of understood errors, conceptual errors in your query, right? And it used to correct the conceptual errors, not spelling mistakes like "did you mean?" We had that, and that was extremely beloved. But the example is a query like if someone comes and searches for Survivor NBC. Turns out Survivor is not on NBC, it was on CBS, different channel, right? And so there was a conceptual error in the query, and we had developed a technique to identify it and show results for the correct TV channel in that case, right? So that was very successful, as you might imagine. But over the years, our underlying search algorithms improved a lot. And it turned out we didn't need this tool, if you will, and so we unlaunched it.
Okay, I thought it was just in search, normal things in search. How do you define and decide the speed of the new tools you added and the change of algorithm? Because sometimes we, as media, maybe, we have the impression that the Google algorithm is changing a lot, not every month, but quite the same. How do you decide the change in the way you are changing the algorithm?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. We change the algorithm all the time. Like for search as a whole, we make thousands of changes every year. So you can imagine there's a lot going on there. But given all these changes, it's absolutely crucial to make sure that every change we make is actually good for users, right? And so what we've done is we've developed a very robust evaluation mechanism that involves live experiments. It involves what we call human raters. There's a whole suite of experiments that you need to do. And so if you have some wonderful idea and you want to build it out, and you build it out, it sounds great, you can't launch it unless you do a comprehensive evaluation. And so this is how we have a sort of a culture of doing this. We have all these processes for doing this. And that's what ensures that search steadily gets better over time.
Are you conscious of the impact Google search is having on people's lives? The one that are searching things, but also the one that are posting on internet, creators, searchers, researchers, and things like that. Because sometimes we are hearing that they can be on the first rank, and then you change the algorithm and go over there. How do you evaluate the impact you have on content creators and media also, and people like that are making content that sometimes Gemini or any other AI can use for search, and you can change everything just in a click, in a minute?
So you know, when we consider making changes to search, our primary goal is to help users. We have a very strong belief in search that we are building search for users, because users use us only because they find us helpful. They have no other reason to use us. And so we absolutely have to focus on users. Now, we believe that for great user experiences, you need a rich and vibrant content ecosystem, right? And so we are absolutely focused on making sure we support the ecosystem because we believe it helps users. But in all of this, the user focus is absolutely the central thing that we do, and we look at everything through the lens of, does this help users?
I'd like to talk AI with you because it's getting more and more important in search. How has natural language understanding evolved with all the introduction of the LLM you had to search? How can it be easy for users to know how to search correctly?
Yeah, so I think the technology of natural language understanding has evolved a lot over the years. And I think if I was to point to one singular place there, it is the introduction of these transformer models in deep learning, in these neural network models, right? And these are the fundamental components that are used as part of all of the language models that you see today. And the core of the idea there is that words get their meaning from the context in which they're used, right? There's a famous linguist from England who in the 1950s, his name is John Rupert Firth. He had this wonderful line, "You shall know a word by the company it keeps." Right? So words get their meaning from the context, and transformers lets these neural networks, AI, do this kind of contextual reasoning to understand language. That has been sort of the singular moment that has led to all of the developments here. Now, what that does for users is it allows users to start asking questions in the most natural way, right? So, for example, a good question that we are beginning to answer now is, you can come to Google and ask a question like, find me a nearby restaurant that is good for large groups with children and that has good vegetarian options. So this is a long, complicated question, but you can see that this is something that reasonably might happen in someone's life. You have some big group come over, you need to find a place to eat, there are some vegetarians and kids in there. This is like a real-life scenario. And what AI is allowing you to do is to really ask that kind of a complex question which reflects your real-life scenario in the most natural possible way, to understand the various components of it, to do the reasoning, to say, is the restaurant kid-friendly, are there vegetarian options, and so forth. And this is the kind of thing that is now becoming possible with AI.
Have you seen a lot of difference in search since you added AI? And in terms of topics or more complex sentences or things like that?
I think by topics, I'm not sure I see a difference, just because there's this very long tail of things people are interested in. Remember, I quoted the 15% of searches are new. So people have just a variety of things that they come to us with. But what is absolutely clear is people are able to ask longer, more complex, more sort of natural language type questions over time, and we are absolutely seeing that transition.
We know that AI can be used, not your AI, but AI in general, for misinformation on the internet. How can people be sure that your AI in the results and the ranking can see the AI or the misinformation on the internet? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think this gets back to that core value that we have of surfacing high quality, reliable information. And in the world of AI, there is absolutely misinformation being created with AI. But before AI, misinformation was being created by other means. So this is not in a sense, a new problem for us. We will continue to find ways to identify the high quality, reliable information whenever possible and surface that. In addition to sort of the core algorithmic improvements that we do, the other thing that we have really focused on is giving users more tools to judge for themselves the reliability of information that they're seeing, whether on Google or elsewhere. And so these are tools like about this result, about this image, which gives you context for what you are seeing so you can judge for yourself. And so those are sort of the two prongs of what we're doing with this.
Recently, you've changed the way that you are having the answer. Not yet in you, but here you are AI overview. We can have Gemini answers, right? How will you continue to balance direct answers from AI or else and external information not coming from Gemini?
We actually think that things like AI overviews is actually a huge opportunity for everyone. First, it's worth noting that AI overviews has been a hugely successful experience all around. It's now available in something like 230 countries and territories, so it's very widely available. It has led to real growth in usage. Users have really loved it and are asking more questions, which are these more complex questions than ever before. And I think that is really a reflection of how much people love it. The experience itself also, as part of the experience, we surface results that corroborate the information out there. We are able to surface more links as part of the corroboration than before. And we find that users engage with a wider variety of websites than before. And when they engage with the result, they engage more deeply with that result. They spend more time on it. So there's higher quality information. So you can think of the AI overview as sort of the framing for what you're looking for. And then it gives you a better way of thinking about which of these various links you really want to engage with for deeper research.
What are the main technical and ethical challenges you get with adding AI to search?
I mean, I think the main technical challenge is to make so the AI technology is absolutely amazing in terms of the way it understands language. But it is not flawless, right? It has these problems of hallucinations and things like that. That is sort of intrinsic to the way the technology works. And so we've developed a whole set of techniques that limits the problems of hallucinations because we have the search results as a sort of a basis for looking for corroboration, and through the techniques that we have built, what we find is that the quality of the overviews that are produced are on par with something like featured snippets, which are things out of the web results. So it has a very similar bar because this is actually core to what we do. We want to be able to surface reliable information, and we want to have people depend on the results that we surface.
We have AI, we have the multimodal search. What is the future now for Google Search?
I mean, when you think about the future, our vision for search is to make it absolutely effortless. Right? We find that if you make it really easy to search, people search a lot more. And AI is really taking this to the next level because it's not just about language and text. It's about images, and it's about videos, and it's about audio. This multimodality is what it is enabling, and that's actually enabling new kinds of questions, more complex questions that people want to ask. And in terms of sort of the direct, sort of the near-term kinds of opportunities we see one is around AI-powered discovery, things like AI overviews. We recently announced AI mode, which is a version where you can get the AI responses sort of reliably, much like images mode. You get image search, and that AI mode is where you get the AI responses. That's now available everywhere in the US, and we're trying to bring it sort of more broadly. The other thing is with multimodality, things like Lens and Circle to Search, and then the underlying models becoming multimodal. I think we're going to see a lot of really interesting experiences. You can point your camera and ask a question with your voice, or you can point your camera at a menu in a language that you don't understand and have it translate the menu into a language you do understand and render it back onto the menu, right? So multimodal experiences is going to be a big part of it. And then the third part is search is going to become more agentic to help you get things done. Things like instead of being just about information, we'll take the sort of the underlying reasoning and things that the Gemini models have and allow you to get things done in there. And that's the other thing that where search is going.
When you arrived 20 years ago at Google Search, were you expecting that? Will you expect that one day we will arrive at that point? What was your dream for Google Search?
So, it's interesting. Before I joined Google 20 years ago, I thought search worked really well, right? And I thought, what is there to really do? I didn't really have a conception. But after joining Google, I realized there is huge opportunity in the kinds of things that search can do. And I never thought we would get to this point, but I always knew that what we were doing at any point was simply scratching the surface of what is possible. And as I said, with what AI is allowing us to do, it's really taking us to the next level.
I've got one final question for you, because I think that nobody knows better Google Search than you. What will be your 5 advices or tips to people to make them use Google Search better than they do?
I think our vision for users is that they should not need tips, that they should ask their questions naturally, the way they think. They should just be able to come and ask that question and get a response that gives them exactly what they're looking for. So if I'm pushing you towards using some particular tip, it means we have to go out and educate, our billions of users on using it this way. I would much rather make it completely easy and natural for them.
Is there anything that Google Search is still unable to do?
Oh, there is lots of stuff that Google Search is not able to do, and that is what keeps me working every single day to make search better and better as we go. I think, as I said, search is simply scratching the surface of what is possible. I think there's just tons of things we can do in the future to make it that much easier.
Pandu Nayak, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.